Hi, this is Father Bill, friend of Dr. Bob's here in Austin. Welcome back. Continuing our series on the 12 steps, how they emerged from the Oxford group, and what it is we can learn from them that would better help us work our programs if we understood some of the material from which the steps emerged. And I got to say that of all of the 12 steps, the one that really blew me away the most was learning about prayer and meditation, how it was that people in Oxford group and the pioneers in early AA, how they practiced prayer and meditation, because meditation and prayer had always been kind of difficult for me. Was never very good at it. And once I began reading their books and studying their materials, a very different practice emerged that was really something very new for me and changed my life. And I hope it may change yours as well. There was a man who really helped me in my studies. His name was Dick B. He was an attorney, lived out in Hawaii, and got sober, went all around the country into libraries and archives and studying the history. And he wrote a book. He wrote about 40 books. You go to his website, dickb.com, passed away a couple of years ago, but a beautiful, beautiful man. And he wrote one on step 11, and he called it Good Morning. It's available. I hope if you're serious about this topic that you will go and read it. And I can't just fly through step 11 very quickly. I think we need to spend several weeks going into it. And I'm going to use Dick's book here as a guide to giving us, I think, some of the basic information that would help us on this step. In the beginning of the book, he talks about the visit from Frank Amos out to Akron, Ohio. And Frank Amos was the secretary to J.D. Rockefeller. Wilson and the group of drunks had approached Rockefeller asking for some money, and he wanted to send his secretary out there to see if this thing was really legitimate and if it could make the changes that Wilson had said it's making in people. Frank Amos came back with a report, and in it he said something really important about prayer and meditation. He said he, the alcoholic, must have devotions every morning, a quiet time of prayer and some reading from the Bible and other religious literature. Unless this is faithfully followed, there is grave danger of backsliding. As it's reported in Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timers, an AA publication, they go on to say this: the AA members of that time did not consider meetings necessary to maintain sobriety. They were simply desirable. Morning devotion and quiet time, however, were musts. Now, in modern-day 12-step programs, I think we've shifted the emphasis away from prayer and meditation and on to meetings. And I think we're missing some of the basic principles and practices that can really lead to change and transformation. What I love about Dick is he gives me lots of quotations. He's done the research, and I just try to get them out there to people to put them to work. Henrietta D., wife of AA number 3. Here's a quote Dick has in his book about her. He's talking about Anne, who was what we'd call her sponsor, the wife of Dr. Bob. Anne, would call me every morning and ask me if I had had my quiet time. You were supposed to go by yourself with a pad and pencil and put down anything that came into your mind. Later in the day, it might come to you why. Probably for a year, she called me every single morning. Did you have your quiet time? Did you get anything special out of it? She was wonderful. Anne herself writes this in a journal that she kept. This is referencing daily quiet time. This cannot be emphasized too much. Not a day should be missed. The early morning hours are best. It may be that more than one quiet time will be needed during the day. Whenever need arises, one should stop and pray and listen. The method of holding quiet time varies, some with each individual. All include prayer and Bible reading and study and patient listening to God. Finally, two more quotes, one from each of the co-founders. This is related to Dr. Bob and his practice. Someone writes in referencing Bob, prayer, of course, was an important part of Dr. Bob's faith. Dr. Bob's morning devotion consisted of a short prayer, a 20-minute study of a familiar verse from the Bible, and a quiet period of waiting for directions as to where he that day should find use for his talent. Having heard, he would religiously go about his Father's business, as he put it. When I first started hearing this, I became aware that the prayer and meditation was not being taught in 12-step programs. And it was a very, very different kind of intimate communication that they had with God. Here's a final quote from the other co-founder, Bill Wilson. He says this, "I always felt that something was lost from AA when we stopped emphasizing the morning meditation." Doing prayer and meditation the way the pioneers did it has radically transformed my life. I see it changing the lives of hundreds and hundreds of people as they learn the practice and begin putting it to work in their lives. So I look forward to going through Dick's book and referencing some of the material that's in here, and hope you'll stop back next week and hear some more. Take good care. God bless. Bye-bye.